Good morning, everyone. This is Sun Kim's weekly global briefing on 8th of June. As you know that there are so many protests in the United States, and but although the economic indices shows a very sharp rallies, I mean it's a bull market, and also there are so many issues between the U.S., China, and U.S. and UK, and many global countries around the world. And the problem is that it has no exit at all till now. So we gotta check this chaotic week. We'll face a really chaotic week. And all the indices will face some kind of price adjustment, and we'll face a bearish market, I think. So let's check the indices and the commodity first. Okay, number one, we check the major indices and the commodities. Number one, the Dow Jones and Nasdaq and S&P 500, it shows a bullish market, especially the Dow Jones. It made a gap, and the problem is that it raises too high, so that it made a really big dot. It made a really big tombstone up there. This week the Dow Jones will make some kind of price adjustment, and it'll fall down again and fill up the gap. And then maybe next week or a couple of weeks later, then it'll rise again, I think. And the Nasdaq and S&P 500, it reaches the former highest point, and then this week it'll make some kind of a price adjustment. Especially the S&P 500, it'll make the adjustment until it reaches the 3,225 points. And one good news about the VIX indexes, that it is now on the 25 points, and it is modestly go down, and then the commodity market is stabilized. So the U.S. reopened the economy, and all the trucks and all the traffics and vessels and some kind of import and export, it runs again. And after almost a month, and now it shows some kind of some warmth in the economy, so that the VIX indices made some kind of stabilize. And the gold, silver, and platinum, they all fall down. They show the bearish market, and especially the gold. Yes, it shows a kind of price adjustment, and you'd better to check the silver and the platinum, especially the platinum and the July future. It shows that it shows a really good point. So it is better to buy here, and then you can target around the $900 dollar line. And palladium and copper, it shows the green lights, and then but I don't recommend the palladium, because the palladium, it doesn't show that any recovery of the car industry. So that the palladium will and also the chart shows that it technically rebound up to the maybe around $2,000. Now it is targeting the 2,000 lines, but I think it'll make some kind of price adjustment this week. Hopefully, if it jumps up more than 2,000 lines, then you can check up. You can make another target lines to the 2050. And the copper, finally, it runs more than it really jumped up more than the $2.50. Now it's $2.54, and I hopefully it'll go up to maybe $2.57. So you better check whether the copper will go much higher or not, because if the copper reaches $2.80, then the U.S. economy will be recovered up to the maybe former lines before the COVID-19. And the oil, the sand and the WTI and the Brent, it is filling up the gaps is made by the COVID-19. The WTI shows a gap between $37 to $40, and the Brent shows that the $40 to $46 gap. These huge gap is really important, because nowadays all the economy is pre-reflected the former collapse of the stock market in January, and many people in the Wall Street, they borrow the money from the commodities, and they fill up the some kind of index futures to cover the margin call, that buy the gold oil and the others and other metals. And now they returned all the money back because the Fed gives lots of money to the financial market, and also not only in the financial market but also in the commodities too. So now the money is coming back, and then the money, now the price is rising again in commodities, and the problem is that still there is COVID-19 problem, and then the WTI and Brent, it shows that it is just in the middle of the gap, and if it overpassed more than the middle of the gap, then there is some kind of chances, but I am not sure whether they can do it or not. And especially the Dubai shows the red light, because although they made the kind of oil cut, but they say in front, okay, we'll cut the oil, and they said, okay, pump it up and sell it to the other countries. So that happens again, and so the Dubai oil fell again. And especially, I'd like to check the rough price on July futures. It shows the super backwardation, unfortunately. Although it was on Friday, it shows more than $20.56, and now it shows that it falls again very sharply, and then now the point is that the $19 around there. The problem is that still is too high, because the other month they shows them maybe $12 around 50 or $12.70, and so there are two very big gaps made more than $7. Now we'll check the weekly news, and I brought 3 news today also, and one from Bloomberg and one from Wall Street Journal, and the third one is the Financial Times. AstraZeneca, they approaches Gilead about potential merger, as showed the Bloomberg, and they're trying to, so many pharmaceutical companies like Merck, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca, whatever. Okay. They try to get some kind of vaccine companies, because they have a lot of time. They need a lot of lead time, so it takes a long time to get the approval from the FDA. So it'll be better to buy another companies who has already done lots of clinical tests already, especially like Gilead. I mean, the Remdesivir is really famous for everybody, and the AstraZeneca, yes, it is a chance to get some kind of yes, it is a chance to get some kind of make money, without they are developing other new medicines. Number 2, the U.S. imports fell sharply in April amid coronavirus disruptions. And yeah, definitely, it's true. And that the problem is that the U.S. government also manipulated some kind of data, and not only the April but also in May and June, maybe June. I think it is already in June. Yeah. So the problem is that the financial deficit of the U.S. company's economy, and especially the U.S. economy, they will show the much wider and the faster deficit ever, because the import demand is too big than the export demand. And the number 3 is that the OPEC and Russia agreed to extend record oil supply cuts. Yeah, the Financial Times says that it is I think it's pretty accurate news, because the Financial Times shows that all the problems in the Middle East and the Russia issues better than the U.S. newspapers. And the article says that the OPEC plus, I mean the OPEC and Russia and other countries, they agreed to extra oil cut for the 10 million barrels a day until the end of the July. So they extended 1 more month of the oil cut, and also that they made a deeper oil cut. The problem is that they say in front, okay, we made the oil cut, and then they in the backside, okay, we pump it up and then we sell it to the other countries. So that's the reason why the Brent and the Dubai oil is very fragile on the market. And next, I'll give you some kind of market forecast. I bring only 2 things today, because there are only two issues: the indices, and the oil prices is the most important this week, and the others just a kind of candy bars, and it is not the main dishes. Okay. The Dow Jones traces with the gap, and Nasdaq touches its former highest position, and the problem is that they will make some kind of price adjustment this week. And the S&P 500, it will face adjustment when it reaches the 3,025 points. And you know that everybody said that now the market is good, and everybody now the stock market will raise up. The problem is that it is made by the liquidity. I mean, the Fed made lots of dollars in the market and the financial markets and all around the world. And the problem is that now the dollar value is falling and falling. And the oil is in bull market also. The problem is that Dubai oil is adjusting price because they are doing different. What they are doing different. They're doing different what they are saying. Okay, they say that they're cut the oil, but in the backside they are pumping up. So oil will make another bullish week, I think. But when the WTI cannot take over the $41, then it fell again and make the price adjustment, and so does the Brent oil. And if you see that some signs of bear, I mean if both the WTI and the Brent oil they overcome the middle of the gap, then there's some kind of good some kind of momentum to make another bull market until the selling of the gap for both. But if not, then they will make a bear market then. So you have to be careful when you are dealing with the oil. Finally, I'll give you the weekly focus. Number 1, U.S. faces unstable social protests from George Floyd, and every black people and the colored people, they are protesting for the Trump administration. And the problem is that they are really. But is it really good that they are robbing the? They break the shops and then they steal and they're robbing the stuffs. Is it good or not? I don't know. But in general, it is not good. Okay. Anyway, but how about the economy? And the problem is, although the society is really very chaotic by the protest, but the economy shows some kind of a bullish market too. So what is this? What's this about? So what's going on here? We have to really careful about that. Number 2, how long does the bullish oil market sustain? As I told you before, I think this week the oil price will make a price adjustment because it raises very sharply, and also it already reached the ceiling. It already reached some kind of turning point to the bear market. So you have to be careful when any signal from the U.S. or the OPEC that they will make they have some kind, maybe this week they'll have some kind of accident, and then the price will fall again, maybe up to the maybe $1 or $2 below the today's market, I think. Number 3, does the rice price backwardation can be soothed? The rough rise shows the super backwardation, and especially in July future. Yeah, and the others, they show that the chart is really shaking a little bit, but they are sustaining the price at between the 1250 and the 1270. So the rice reflects on the Asian market, and when the July future ended on this month, I mean this June, the July future will be finished, I think, and then this will make some kind of a big this is a sign of big issues, some events in the Asian market, especially in China or India or the Singapore or whatever. Okay, then we'll have we have to be careful when you are investing in those areas. Maybe the super backwardation of the rice, they will bring a really big inflation because of some kind of stimulus policies, the economic entity. So especially you have to check the China and the Japan too. Those two countries will be the most important positions for the inflation or any events that comes from the China economy, from the Asian economy. So this is the end of the global briefing. So keep your eyes on the news, and don't be enchanted by the other wrong newses. You are looking for some kind of social news, but you have to be careful and you have to focus on the economy news. And that is my point. And have a good day. God bless you, and have a great week for the successful investment. Thank you.